Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Y'all, I'm at the tail end of a little bit of a cold this week. So if my energy levels are not up, that's why. I'm gonna have a fun time editing this, getting rid of all of the sniffles. Also, I have my hair straight for like the first time in years, and it feels really weird. Really, really weird. I have naturally curly hair, so it's just the easier route for me. Today, I'm running through all the books that are releasing in 2025 that I am really excited about. I know that my energy levels are like on the ground, but I am very psyched about all of these books. I've pre-ordered most of them, so take my energy level with a grain of salt. Sickness. Sickness, and it's 5 days before Christmas. Let's run through these. I'm going to start off in January, and we're just going to go through the entire year of what's been announced. On January 7th, we've got Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. That is the third book in the When in Rome series. I read both of those books, and I absolutely love them. I don't own them, but I want to. My goal is to buy them at some point. I have pre-ordered this one. The When in Rome series has got such a Gilmore Girls vibes to it. It was such an enjoyable read. I absolutely loved it, and I really want to read a lot more Sarah Adams books. This one's about two second grade teachers that are feuding, and they're also neighbors, and they have to come together for something. The next one coming out also on January 7th is the Starlight Heir by Amalie Hazelwood. This one looks to be a new fantasy novel. Honestly, the cover grabbed me on this. It's beautiful. It's my favorite color. It's gorgeous. I've never read any of her books, but I am excited for this one. I don't have this one pre-ordered. I'll probably get it from the library. It says, be ready for a deadly contest for a bride, mistaken identities, hidden magic, and secrets that will keep you guessing until the end. Next up is my most anticipated release of the entire year. I think you guys can probably guess that. It's my favorite series besides ACOTAR. Next up is Onyx Storm, releasing on January 21st. I, of course, have this pre-ordered. I am utterly excited about this one. I can't tell you a ton about what this one's about because it's the third book in the Empyrean series. We follow our main character, Violet, in Fourth Wing. She goes off to Basgiath War College to learn how to be a dragon rider. She's kind of forced into it. She was supposed to be a scribe, which is like writing down the history. But her mom forced her into learning how to be a dragon rider. It's a very deadly college. If you've never read Fourth Wing, I highly recommend it. Next up, we've got Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonam Young. That one comes out January 28th. I really love Hannah Bonam Young's writing. I read Out on a Limb and Next of Kin. I attempted Next to You, and that one, I did end up DNFing it. I was not really in the right headspace for it. I may try it again at some point, but I wasn't feeling it at that time. So I think I'm going to call that one a soft DNF for now. I believe we meet these characters in Out on a Limb. I'm pretty sure they are the best friends. I think it's about them trying to save their marriage. They've been together for a very long time, and it looks to be about their journey through trying to save their marriage, which is kind of sad because on Out on a Limb, their marriage was solid. Next, we've got Deep End by Ali Hazelwood coming out February 4th. Obviously, I am a huge fan of Ali Hazelwood. Currently, I'm working through her backlog. This one is about two swimmers in a college setting, and apparently it's spicy. Now, I am envious of all of you YouTubers that have the puppy dogs in your videos, and they're just like these sweet, calm dogs. I just had to create mine. She's only 1.5 years old. She is fully in her pterodactyl phase, and she's so loud and cannot settle while I'm trying to do this. I've had to create her through most of my filming. I'm so jealous. Anyway, next up. Next, we've got Scythe and Sparrow by Brynne Weaver. This is the third one in the Ruinous Love trilogy. The first one is Busher and Blackbird. Second one is Leather and Lark. And then we've got Scythe and Sparrow. I believe we're following brothers throughout all of this. I've got the first two up there, way up on my bookshelf. I loved Butcher and Blackbird. Pretty sure I gave it 5 stars. Leather and Lark I liked, but I didn't love it as much as Butcher and Blackbird. I am excited about book 3, though. This one follows serial killers that are like vigilantes, but in a lighthearted way. They're quite funny. Butcher and Blackbird was hilarious. But I will never be able to look at ice cream the same way ever again. Next up is Our Infinite Fates, coming out March 4th. I haven't seen anybody talk about this one. The premise of this one sounds so interesting. I had to pre-order it. This is what got me. It says they've loved each other in 1,000 lifetimes. They've killed each other in every one. So it's kind of like a reincarnation, like all the past lives and them trying to break a curse and trying not to fall in love. It sounds so interesting. I had to go for it. I'm not seeing anybody talk about this one. And next we've got Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. Abby Jimenez is by far my favorite romance author. I adore her work. I am very close to caught up on hers. I think I only have like a novella to read and maybe like a short story, and I'm caught up. I've heard nothing but good things from all the people that have gotten arcs of this, saying that it's her most emotional book, but it is beautifully written, the same as every other book that she has written. So I cannot wait for this one. My only downfall of this one is that as of right now on Amazon, you can only pre-order the hardcover, and I want paperback for this. So I don't have it pre-ordered. I'm hoping that a paperback version gets loaded onto Amazon to be able to pre-order, and then I will. I'm not gonna lie, this next one I pre-ordered mainly for the cover because this book is beautiful. Firebird by Juliette, which comes out on April 8th. Y'all, this book is stunning. Like, absolutely stunning. I pre-ordered it because it's so freaking beautiful. The premise does sound interesting, but I bought this one because it's pretty. I'm not gonna lie. It's gorgeous. And I've also read other books by this author, Juliette, and I adored those books. I read I think it's the first one's called Waking the Dragon. I don't know what the series is called. I read that entire series and a couple of her other books, but I loved that series so much. It's been a couple years since I read it though, but at the time, I think I gave most of those books 5 stars. So I have high hopes for this one. It says House of the Dragon meets From Blood and Ash in this epic, scorching, dark romantasy. A conqueror captivated, a witch prophesies to save them all in a world where dragons rule Rome. Yeah. But also, like, look at the book. So the next one on the list is The Twisted Throne by Danielle Jensen. This one comes out also on April 8th. This is the Bridge Kingdom series. I absolutely loved books 1 and 2 of the Bridge Kingdom series. Book 3 I did not like, and book 4 I DNF'd. I did not like the characters in books 3 and 4. I was not a fan of our main male character. I do plan to go back and read book 4. This next one is book 5, The Twisted Throne. It's on a completely new couple. So I have high hopes because of how much I loved books 1 and 2. Oh, okay. I don't want to read too much on this synopsis because it's following book 4 and I didn't read book 4. So yeah, I'm going to skip over the synopsis on this one. This author's working hard. She's got 2 books coming out right in a row. So the next book on my list is A Curse Carved in Bone, which is the second book to the Fate Inked in Blood series, and that one comes out on May 13th. So we've got The Twisted Crown coming out by her on April 8th, and then A Curse Carved in Bone on May 13th. Damn. Go Danielle. So we got the second one in the Saga of the Unfated series, A Fate Inked in Blood. I know a lot of people give that one a lot of hate. This one has a really cool magic system. I really loved it. It's like the gods decide to bestow power on you and you get to use them. In the first one, we start out with her being married to a terrible man. I'm pretty sure she killed her husband at the very beginning of the first book. And then she gets taken by the Jarl to be his wife. And we go through her journey there. There's magic. She's bestowed upon a god or two. I absolutely loved this book. The audiobook was also really great because we had some great Norse accents. I love a book with accents. I don't know why that like intrigues me so much. American accent for me is quite boring because I am an American. Throw me to another country and I enjoy the audiobook significantly more because in my head I can't automatically do those accents. So I feel way more immersed in those. This one was a good one. The audiobook was great. Next up, we've got The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. This one comes out May 20th. Rachel Gillig was the one that wrote the One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns duology. This one, it looks to be a start of a new series called The Stonewater Kingdom. Rachel Gillig has a true talent for creating an extremely unique magic system and world. I cannot wait to dive into this one, especially if it's a new world. I can't wait to see what else her brain comes up with. Says Sybil Dowling has spent 9 years dreaming of having no dreams at all, like the other foundling girls who traded a decade of service for a home in the great cathedral, Sybil is a diviner. In her dreams, she receives visions from 6 unearthly figures known as omens. From them, she can predict terrible things before they occur, and lords and common folk alike travel across the kingdom of Trom's windswept moors to learn their futures by her dreams. Sounds so intriguing. Next up is It's a Love Story by Annabel Monaghan. That one comes out on May 27th. I've only read Summer Romance by her, but I did love that book. I would like to read more of her catalog. Nora Goes Off Script gets a lot of hype as well as being a pretty good one. Next up is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. That one comes out on June 3rd. I can't say that I'm like this massive fan of Taylor Jenkins Reid because I've only read one book by her. I'm getting ready to read another one, and then there's another one on my 25 and 2025 list. I read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I did really love her writing. She had a great way of telling a story from beginning to end. This one does look so intriguing. So this one looks to be a story about an astronaut in 1984. Next one is Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. This one looks to be Julie Soto's first fantasy book, a romantasy book. After seeing Rebecca Yarros do Fourth Wing so flawlessly after being a romance author, I'm extremely excited to see what Julie Soto can do. I did read a couple other Julie Soto's books. What are they called? The violin one, and the one about being a wedding planner. Not Another Love Song. That's one of them. All right. Anyway, Rose in Chains. What are you about? Stripped of her mind, magic, and her freedom, Brianni and the other Brianni? That sounds wrong. Brianni and the other survivors are quickly auctioned off to the highest bidder in an auction. And as the heir apparent's sister, she fetches the highest price. Very excited to see what Julie Soto can do. That one comes out on July 3rd. Next up is The Things Gods Break. It's the second book in this series, The Games Gods Play. I loved The Games Gods Play. I thought it was one of the top fantasies that I read of the year. It was such a fun ride. It was so, so good. That one's by Abigail Owen. I liked that book so much that I cannot wait to explore her other books because that was the first book by her that I've read. We've got Greek mythology in that one. And in the first book, they come together I think it's like is it every 5 years or every 100 years? I feel like I'm mixing it up with Lightbar. But they come together for a set of trials. They pick a human to compete in these trials, and it will decide who rules over Olympus for I think it's 100 years. For the next 100 years. I could be wrong, but pretty sure that's how it is. We've got Hades and Lyra as our main characters. It's a good one. We should read it. I've already got the second one pre-ordered in the fancy edition because I got the sprayed edge edition and the first one as well. So I pre-ordered the second one in the fancy sprayed edge edition because it's just so pretty. I like the blue one more though. Next up, I've got The Ballad of Fallen Dragons by Sarah Parker. Sarah A. Parker. And this is the second one in the Moonfall series, or When the Moon Hatched. This book has gotten so much either love it or hate it energy. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I had such a fun time reading this book. Well, I think I've seen some interviews with this author regarding writing this book, and it took her a long time to write it. And just she explained the process of writing this book, and it was so interesting. She wrote all of the diary entries all at once, which was so cool to see. When the Moon Hatched has such a unique world where dragons go up into the sky to die and they curl up into moons. I have to admit that I liked the fantasy elements more so than the romance part in this one. The world itself is set into like 3 different sections. I believe we have the Shade, the Fade, and then what's the northern one called? The hot one. Scorch? That could be wrong. But each one is set where the weather doesn't change. So we've got a really cold area, a middle ground, and then a really hot area. And each one has different types of dragons that live in those areas that can handle the certain weather that they have. But in the south, we have a certain type of dragon that handles the cold really well, but cannot handle the hot really well. It burns their eyes and it like burns them and stuff. Last on my list, but not last, because I've got honorable mentions, is the second book in the Quicksilver series, the Fae and Alchemy series. It doesn't have a name yet, so I just listed it as Quicksilver 2. It's listed as coming out on November 18th. Hopefully that stands, but if she needs more time to write it, so be it. I am on the train of give the author the time. Like, I don't want to rush anybody. I'm also trying to get on the train where I don't wait for series to be fully written before I dive into one, because I know that the authors are making their money off of these series as we read them. And if a series is good enough, I'm going to reread it. The first one I just read in November. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads, but I think I gave it 4.5 on my own rating system, only because of a couple things that just kind of docked it, but it was still such a good series. We got our main character that lives in the poor slums. She steals and basically scrapes by to take care of her brother, and she gets in trouble from stealing something that's pretty, I guess, high up, expensive, important, something or other. She gets in trouble. She basically gets sentenced to death, and she escapes death, and she escapes into a Fey realm with our main male character, Kingfisher. And it's the story of just like going through her journey in the Fey realm, which has their own war going on. It's a good one. You should read it. It's really, really good. Okay, so I've got 5 honorable mentions. I say they're honorable mentions for 2 reasons. One, either I have not read the first book, or we don't have a confirmed release date for it. We just have like rumors that they might be coming out. The first 3 are ones that I have not read the first book, but I think that I'm probably going to like it enough to want to read the second book. First one on that list is Rebel Witch. That one comes out on February 18th. This one's the second one in the Heartless Hunter, or Crimson Moth series by Kristen Ciccarelli. Wow, that sounded like Cinderella. Cinderella. That sounds, yeah. Anyway, I apologize if I butchered your name. I'm going to fully admit that I attempted to read Heartless Hunter, and I ended up softy enoughing it. I was not in the right frame of mind to read a fantasy at that time. After reading or attempting to read this, I went on like a romance binge for like 2 months and read nothing but romance. I was not in a fantasy mood. I was in a romance mood. So I did DNF this one, but I do plan to go back to it because everybody loves this book. Everybody. I've seen no negative things about this book. And I'm like, it must have been me. It had to have been me. So I'm going to retry this one, and I've seen nothing but good things on Rebel Witch of the people that have gotten arcs for it. This one is a witch hunter series, and their magic is done by blood, but she sneaks around the system. Once you make an incision to be able to perform magic, you have like this scar that appears, and it basically like incriminates you. Witches are not allowed. So she goes around this and uses her menstrual blood, which is gross, but smart. Second one is Enchantra, coming out April 8th. The first one of this one was Phantasma, which I have here. Phantasma. I just haven't gotten around to reading it yet. I believe that we follow one sister in Phantasma and then a different sister in Enchantra. I think it's got some trials in it, and I know that it gets pretty spicy. Next one is The Strength of the Few, coming out May 6th. And that one is the second one to The Will of the Many. I'm actually currently reading The Will of the Many. I'm just barely into it, though. I know that it is extremely complex. I'm hoping that I love it, so that way I want to read The Strength of the Few. This one is a epic fantasy. The world is built in a really strange way where, how do you explain that? It's a pyramid where the lowest feels the one above it, which then feels the one above them. And of course, the higher you get, the stronger you are. Just barely skim the surface. So far, the writing's really interesting. I already liked the main character quite a bit, so I'm excited to see the second one come out and hopefully love it. So the other 2 on my honorable mentions list are ones that have not been announced, but we're getting like teasers and rumors and things like that. The next one on my list, I haven't read the first one, but I'm so confident I'm going to love this one. Everybody loves this series. Spark Up the Everflame by Penn Cole. We've got 3 books out in this series, but no confirmed date for the 4th one. I'm pretty sure she had a confirmed date this year, but it got pushed back. I'm thinking that she's still writing it, which, all for it. Take your time with it. I'm sure that we will all be happier if the book is better, and we all need to have some patience. I say that because I haven't read it. I'm sure I'd be more antsy if I had already read it. It's enemies to lovers, magic, dragons, angst, and banter. Because we got a mortal world colonized by the gods and ruled over by the descended, their cruel offspring. So I guess the descended is like the demigods. I want to start that series, and we have no idea when book 4 is coming out, but it's rumored to come out in 2025. The last one on my honorable mentions list is the next ACOTAR book. We've seen little teasers from Sarah J. Maas writing it. I think I saw one probably about a year ago where she was typing or like on a getaway retreat and she's like, ACO what? And she was writing ACOTAR. So fingers crossed we get ACOTAR this year. I think it's been quite a few years since the last ACOTAR book came out. I'm on the lucky side. I just read ACOTAR, the whole series, for the first time in 2023. I've read it now twice, but I haven't been reading it for like 5-6 years and then waiting on that next book to come out. I say that I'm on the lucky side for that because some of you guys have been waiting so much longer for that one. But that one is up there as one of my top favorite series. I know I'm a basic bitch, but whatever. Don't care. It's a good series. If you don't know what ACOTAR is about, we've got a mortal human girl that's trying to feed her family. She's like the breadwinner. She hunts for her family, and her family's starving, and her family is also useless. She's got a dad that doesn't do anything and sisters to feed. So her being, I think she's the youngest. Is she the youngest? It feels like Elaine is the youngest because she's like the innocent, but I think that Fair is the youngest. Goes out and hunts to feed them. And then she ends up shooting a wolf, and that wolf was actually a fae. And so she gets taken into the fae world as penance or punishment. And it's her journey from there on entering into the fae world. That's a basic understanding of what it's about. And then it's so much more than that. Oh, such a good series. I know that I probably missed a few books that are coming out this year. Either I just didn't know about them. I haven't read the first one, so I don't know about the second one. There's a lot of series out there. I have a long list of series that I feel FOMO on that I want to start so bad. I know Emily Henry's got a new book coming out called, I think, This Big Beautiful Life. Pretty sure. I know she's crazy popular. I didn't list that one because it's not on my most anticipated list. She's kind of hit or miss for me. So I might read it. I might try to read it. I'm not sure. I try to do my best on the most anticipated list. This is my first time making an anticipated list. This is my first time trying to figure out what's coming out. Anyway, that wraps this video up. I'm so tired of being sick. Being sick right before Christmas is the worst. I have too much to do for this. That wraps this video up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you stick around. There will be much more videos coming your way. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. And let's be friends. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one. Bye.